seminar, first of all, I guess I just want to say thank you very much to the people that have already been presenting. Fantastic information. I hope for all of your sakes and our sakes that we've already learned a lot. And not to take away from the things that have been talked about, what we thought we would do differently is complement a lot of the new introductions and the varieties that you've heard about with perhaps maybe a different spin on plant material, and that's more towards celebrating the varieties that we've had such tremendous success with. So this next seminar is really talking about a lot of varieties that you would already be familiar with, and that have really just been the industry propellers, if you will, when it comes to plant material. I think the thing that I want to highlight is that, and it's been brought up a couple of times already, if your customers are having tremendous success with plants, then we've all won, right? And the list that Alana and Bryn are going to share with you are exactly those varieties that have really stood the test of time, that deserve a place for many, many more years. So our presentation, like I'm pretty sure a couple of the others, are available at any time. You can request it from us and we will send it to you digitally. When we get to the end of Alana and Bryn's, there'll be a Q&A. Save your questions for then if you don't mind for this one, and there'll be a couple of us on hand if we've got some time left to answer a few questions. We'll leave it there.
All right, I'm just going to jump right in here with Acer rubrum Armstrong. Valued for its columnar form, this plant is suitable for narrow areas such as along streets or close to a building, as the roots won't lift the pavement when it grows, and it thrives in most soil conditions. Acer rubrum Red Point. This is a relatively low-maintenance tree. As it matures, the lower branches can be pruned up to create a high enough canopy for human traffic underneath. It's quite adaptable and will even tolerate some standing water, also available in clump form.
So here we have Chamaecyparis gracilis. This is a slow grower that is sure to impress. With its unique foliage spray, it works as a specimen piece in the garden, in containers, or as a bonsai project. It's a cultivar of the Chamaecyparis obtusa that was created in Japan. This variety is loved for its more compact and full features than the parent. It is much more manageable to work into your space.
Acer Autumn Blaze, standard and clump. A staple in the landscape with eye-catching oranges and reds in the fall. This tree is tolerant and low maintenance and can be placed in a variety of settings. It's an excellent choice for those who want a row of uniform trees.
Chamaecyparis Sun Gold. This is a cultivar of the Chamaecyparis aurea, loved for its stronger resistance to sunburn than the parent. It originated in Canada in the 1960s, and since then you can see their use increase as border plants in rock gardens or Asian-style gardens. This is a great way to incorporate golden foliage into the landscape all year round.
Amelancure laevis laevis cumulus, sorry. And then we also have the Amelancure Autumn Brilliant. This plant offers both hardiness and beauty. It's great for areas that need a showy privacy shrub, and you can even dress it up a little more by adding light underneath to illuminate the beautiful canopies. You can harvest the edible berries or leave them to attract the wildlife.
Spartan Juniper. This hardy variety tolerates extreme conditions, including drought, heat, and cold, while maintaining its deep green foliage. Every Spartan I see come through here is somehow always so vibrant. Another thing that this specific variety is loved for is its ability to remain full of foliage right to the base of the plant. This is hard to find in other types of upright juniper varieties. For this reason, it makes a great statement piece with its natural form or as a topiary, and can be used in place of yews or cedars as a hedge.
Betula nigra clump. Valued for its stunning bark, this tree also features catkins in early spring. It's a low-maintenance tree with no significant negative characteristics, keeping this tree at the top of our go-to list. Betula park land pillar. This slender columnar tree has numerous applications in the landscape. Its unique shape makes it perfect for a focal point or in large container gardening. It's great for windbreaks and privacy screens due to its hardiness and vertical growth.
Green carpet juniper. This is a drought-tolerant, easy-to-care-for North American native, an easy grower for us here. These plants are known to stay dense and full, making it a great way to fill an empty sunny patch of the garden with very little maintenance. Pruning once a year at the end of winter is all that's necessary. It will naturally stay very tidy and compact. Foliage color deepens with maturity, while new growth stays a beautiful bright green.
Cercis canadensis standard and clump. In addition to their beautiful form, relatively small size, prolific spring bloom, and ornamental appeal, redbuds can also be an important food source for early season pollinators such as bumblebees and carpenter bees. The seeds of the redbud are also a food source for some birds as well as squirrels. A fun fact, the flowers of the redbud are also edible. They taste similar to peas and can be used to garnish salads, pickled, fried, or even used to make jelly. Fagus Dalwick purple, an extremely columnar tree with rich purple foliage all season long, excellent as a tall screen or fence, and for those who have limited space.
Plumosa compacta juniper. This variety is very unique in its foliage color as it transitions from a bright green to a purple rust color in the winter, providing changing interest throughout the year. It is drought tolerant, adaptable, and low maintenance. Prune once a year at the end of winter and then sit back and watch the colors change as the seasons change.
Ginkgo biloba Princeton Century. Introduced in 1967 by William Flemner III, this seedless male selection has proven to be a top-performing urban tree. It's practically pest-free and far superior to the species.
Calgary carpet juniper. Similar to the Plumosa compacta, but it maintains its vibrant green foliage all year round for a simple, classic option. Easy to care for, sun-loving garden favorite, we cannot keep enough of these in stock. It has much softer needles than most other varieties of junipers that create a feathery foliage, adding a different texture to the landscape, whether it's mass planting or individual.
Liriodendron tulipifera. This tree is one of the tallest native trees of eastern North America. With its uniquely shaped leaves and tulip-shaped flowers, it's the perfect tree for a large property. It turns an outstanding gold in the fall, and its gray bark is extremely showy, adding winter interest. Liriodendron fastigiatum. The fastigiatum, or pyramidal tulip, is a narrower variety which can be used in smaller landscapes and narrow locations.
Blue arrow juniper. Unlike the 30-year life expectancy we see with many other juniper varieties, the blue arrow surpasses that with an expectancy of up to 70 years in ideal conditions. This is one you will not have to replace in your lifetime if you treat it right, and thankfully that is not hard to do as long as you give it the sun it needs. It will provide you with that pop of blue that every garden needs while being easy to work into a space as it naturally stays very narrow.
Austria virginiana. Also known as American hop hornbeam, this tree is tougher and more stress tolerant than its close relative Carpinus caroliniana. Austria is a good size for a patio or courtyard and can tolerate summer drought and heat.
Star power juniper. Unique blue star-like foliage create an interesting texture that is hard to come by. It almost looks as if the plant is sparkling in certain lights because of the shape. This variety grows much faster than others if you're looking for something to fill a space rather quickly. Yet it still maintains those typical juniper qualities, which are hardy and easy to care for.
Platanus exclamation. Due to its beautiful and unique bark, this tree provides great winter interest and is very resistant to frost cracking and disease. Great for tough urban conditions like parking lots and streets.
Larix laricina. This tree is just show-stopping. It's so unique, not only because it's a deciduous tree with fluffy little needles, but the beautiful golden color it turns in the fall is unlike anything else. Winter is the only season that this tree doesn't do much in, but the display you get during the other 3 seasons makes it worth it. If that's not enough, this is a native species, making it a wildlife favorite.
Populus tremuloides. This fast-growing tree provides good screening, wind protection, and a sound barrier. It's a great backdrop with its beautiful fall color. It's very popular in high-altitude landscapes where it's one of the only trees that will truly thrive. It flutters and rustles in the breeze, providing the appearance that it's quaking or trembling, which is where it gets its name. Populus tremula erecta. This narrow tree is great for small spaces, as a tall screen or lining a driveway. Its flat, round leaves flutter and rustle in the breeze, providing visual interest and a soothing sound to the landscape.
Picea cupricina. I have never seen a bad-looking cupricina. These trees always impress. They maintain a very slender structure, which means they have better resistance to snow damage. They're fast-growing, low maintenance, and easy to transition into your space for that reason. They also have these fluffy little bright green tufts that look like lights on the tree. They're just irresistible. You have to touch them when you see them. This is the softest a picea will ever be.
Pyrus caleriana chanticleer. A great tree to use where space is limited, such as narrow streets, schools, and urban shopping centers. It is one of the first trees to come into bloom and one of the last to lose its leaves. With its white blooms, followed by ornamental fruit, and then great fall color, it really is a greatest hit.
Picea glauca. Native to us here in Canada, this is the hardiest picea that you will find. They naturally have a pyramidal habit with a very strong leader. Little maintenance is required and no pruning necessary to maintain this natural structure. If you want something that you can plant and not have to worry about for years following, this is your tree. It is quite adaptable to different soil types and climate conditions. As long as you put it in a sunny spot, it will be happy. The surrounding wildlife will thank you as well.
Quercus rubra. If you want a magnificent focal point in your yard, use this tree as a specimen. For those with extra yard space, trees can be planted in rows that line a sidewalk or driveway to create a dramatic sight. These trees are extremely tough and adaptable and fast-growing. And then we have the Quercus kindred spirit and the Quercus regal prince. Faster growing than other oaks, these extremely tough and adaptable trees are primarily valued for their columnar form. They have attractive dark green foliage that will turn outstanding red in the fall. These also provide some winter interest as the leaves don't drop until the new buds swell.
Picea omarica. There's a lot of personality in this variety's branch structure. You can always pick it out in a crowd. Great as a specimen piece for that reason. It is different from anything we see occur naturally around here. The cones it produces add to the intrigue. They are a bright purple color when they're young and become rusty brown as they mature. Needles are dark green on top with contrasting light green stomata bands on the bottom, giving the tree more texture and depth that can be admired even from a distance.
Syringa myropalabin shrub and tree form. These dwarf lilacs are perfect for any space. You can use it as a single specimen, as a compact hedge, or even as a canopy for some more of your favorite plants. These not only smell fantastic, but attract pollinators like bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. Pinus vanderwolf.
It is hard to believe that this is not a fake tree when you see it, as the needles are so strong and always pristine. They seem to replicate plastic and hold such a rich color. The foliage remains very dense and the tree much smaller than other varieties of pines that can sometimes be harder to fit into your space. This is one that will keep looking good and not become overgrown in your landscape.
Acer palmatum bloodgood. One of the most popular specimen trees in the home landscape with its rich burgundy foliage and spreading growth. It works well as an understory planting as it comfortably takes part shade. The bloodgood Japanese the blood-good Japanese maple is a low-maintenance go-to. We also have the Acer palmatum Twombly's Red Sentinel. This unique specimen develops a somewhat columnar form, making it unique and useful for many applications. Emerging red in the spring, the foliage turns a deep burgundy, then crimson in the fall.
Pinus slowmound and Pumilio. Both are a very hardy, low-growing pine. They stay compact and full, and you never have to worry about awkward bare spots. In the spring, you will see these candles, in the smaller image there, produced on top. This is how it creates new growth and provides a different seasonal interest. It does great on its own in a small garden or in groupings to fill a larger space. It will hold its vibrant color all winter, no pruning necessary, and you won't have to worry about the deer munching on this one.
Aronia melanocarpa. This shrub has multi-season interest with white flowers in the spring, dark green summer foliage, and black berries with red, orange, and yellow foliage in the fall. It's a great choice for borders and mass plantings. It is very adaptable and tolerant. If that wasn't enough of a reason to plant them, they also attract bees, songbirds, and other pollinators.
Pinus strobus, the classic white pine, native to North America. This is a big one. It will definitely serve well in parks, providing shade and shelter. Bottom branches are often removed as the tree grows to allow for people to use the space underneath unobstructed. The needles are so soft, so it's a suitable tree for human recreational use. This is another tree that can live for a very long time with very little work needed to maintain it. And as a native, the wildlife love it.
Cercidophyllum japonicum clump. This tree, a personal favorite, comes in clump and standard form. This tree has beautiful heart-shaped leaves, similar to a redbud, but about a third the size. The color keeps changing throughout the year, providing visual interest for 3 seasons. Besides how beautiful these are, the best part is the cotton candy smell that occurs when the leaves change in the fall. Durvilla linicera, a trouble-free, tolerant shrub. Great for mass plantings, steep hillsides, banks, or as a wide-spreading ground cover. The Durvilla linicera is a great plant for areas that are too shady for grass to grow, and durable enough for areas where snow is constantly shoveled or plowed. Another good choice for attracting butterflies, bees, and hummingbirds.
Pinus stowe pillar. Another pine with very soft, silky needles, but one that stays much more short and narrow than the Pinus strobus, making it more suitable for smaller landscapes. It retains the easy, adaptable growing qualities of the white pine while being easier to work with in residential areas where space is more limited. Maintains a very dense columnar structure with thin blue-green needles that give the tree a very soft, fuzzy look.
Cornus alba balehalo. This show-stopping dogwood brings something beautiful to your yard no matter what the time of year. From its large, variegated leaves to the bright red twigs in the winter, this is a beautiful addition to any landscape. In the fall, white berries develop, attracting birds. In the spring, the flowers also bring pollinators. Cornus racemosa. Great for borders, steep slopes, native gardens, along streams or ponds, near buildings, or planted as a screen. These dogwoods attract squirrels, birds, butterflies, and more. Along the same line, we have Cornus cercea, another great native shrub for mass plantings, borders, or used in front of an evergreen hedge for contrast. These hardy dogwoods are great in any season and can tolerate wet soil. They produce year-round visual interest with their red stems and attract pollinators and birds with their flowers and berries.
Pinus sylvestris topiary. The stark structure of the topiary adds an exotic aesthetic to any garden, an effect that cannot be recreated by anything else. This tree does not need much maintenance once it has already been formed into the topiary. Only light pruning to maintain the already existing shape is all that is needed once or twice a year to keep it tidy.
Cotoneaster acutifolius. Great for an informal hedge or screen, this cotoneaster produces dark berries, delicate white-pink flowers, and has beautiful fall color. It's a great shrub for borders, mass plantings, and even espalier. Rhus aromatica grow low. This is a perfect choice for a low-maintenance shrub. Great to use as low-growing ground cover for steep yards. Great as mass planting in raised planters. Adaptable enough to be used on top of stone or brick retaining walls. Since they thrive in hot and dry environments and are tolerant of road salt, this is the perfect plant for edging roads, sidewalks, and parking lots. The strong, fragrant scent is attractive to bees and butterflies.
Taxus nova. This is the most dense and full upright taxus that I have ever come across. It's hard to find one of these with any sort of bare patches. It maintains its rigid columnar structure naturally, yet responds well to what pruning is done to maintain its height. It doesn't take much to keep it looking tidy and well kept. It can provide a very clean, structured look to the landscape.
Ribes alpinum, a great uniformed low privacy hedge. Tough and adaptable with berries that attract birds. If placed in the right area, you could sit and watch the birds through the warmer months. Salix purpureana. Picture this. Lacy blue leaves next to red purple stems, moving gracefully in the wind, creating stunning yet subtle contrast. Its fine texture is what sets it apart from other hardy landscape plants.
Taxus densiformis. I just love the shape that this variety becomes. It suits any garden and performs every time. It's a great option if you're looking for something other than an upright, straight, and narrow taxus. It has more of a funky shape that looks natural yet tidy at the same time. It has a ferny foliage spray where new growth emerges from, bright green and soft, adding depth to the display. This is definitely a crowd favorite.
Syringapetula Miss Kim. With its intoxicating fragrance and valuable source of nectar for pollinators, including these in your landscape couldn't be a better idea. Its compact size and beautiful blooms will transform your garden. Syringa vulgaris varieties. French hybrid lilacs produce beautiful, reliable, heavily fragrant blooms. They are great, hardy, and traditional selection used in mixed shrub borders as an individual or mass plantings with other lilacs. They add a touch of elegance to your garden and can be used as a cut flower for floral arrangements.
Taxus hilli and hicksai. These are our most popular taxus. They're best used for hedging as they grow into each other and create a solid wall of deep green needles. There are slight differences between the two. Hilli grow a little slower than the hicksais and can get a little bit wider. They also lack the bright red berries that the hicksais showcase. So if wildlife is on your radar, then the hicksai is the one to choose for that reason. The birds love the berries and the dense foliage that it creates.
Viburnum lentego, a shade-tolerant shrub, useful for shrub borders, taller barriers, hedges, and windbreaks. It produces a seasonal display of fruits, flowers, and fall color, and the fruit are eaten by birds and wildlife. Hydrangea pedialaris. This white-flowering climbing hydrangea is perfect for decorating a wall, climbing a tree, or hiding a stump. It can be used as a ground cover as well. It is self-clinging and clings by aerial rootlets along the stems.
Thuya emerald. We all know this one. This is a true classic. You can't go very far around here without seeing an emerald cedar in the garden, as it is the most frequently used hedging shrub in North America. Surprise, surprise. The vibrance of the foliage can be maintained all year long, remaining soft and dense. It provides great privacy for people, but also a great spot for small birds to nest or hide. Additionally, the fragrance they give off is something commonly replicated in candles or room scents, so you know it has to be good.
Clematis varieties. These Raymond Evision introductions are stunning, versatile, and long-lasting. They can brighten up any garden, whether in a container, growing up a wall, fence, or on a trellis.
Thuya nigra. This one also has the same great cedar smell that comes with the emerald, but the foliage creates a more natural, wild, unstructured aesthetic. Preferred over the white cedar, although similar in appearance, the foliage of the black cedar remains more dense and rich in color, where the white cedar can become patchy, bare, and dull. It also stays much smaller than the white cedar, which makes it easier to work into tighter garden spaces.
Wisteria Blue Moon. One of the hardiest wisteria, this stunning vine is highly tolerant to cold and blooms 3 times a year. The blooms are stunning chains of fragrant lavender pea-like flowers with blue overtones. It's an excellent vine for freestanding arbors, pergolas, posts, trellises, fences, or terrace walls. Wisteria Amethyst Falls. Perfect for smaller spaces, this wisteria grows at about the third the rate of Blue Moon. Great for containers on a porch or patio, training up an arbor or trellis, or as a freestanding tree.
Tsuga canadensis. There is nothing else like a Canadian hemlock. The needles are so small and dainty, it creates a very fragile appearance. But not to worry, this tree is tougher than it looks, as it is an Ontario native and can withstand everything Canadian weather throws at it. This is a great option for a shadier area, as it will continue to thrive in any light conditions. An easy way to incorporate a soft texture into the landscape in areas that wouldn't necessarily support other varieties as well.
Blueberry varieties. Thinking about adding some blueberries to your landscape and need a little more convincing? I've got a few reasons. For starters, rather than planting shrubs that are purely ornamental, blueberries are both ornamental and functional. They attract numerous pollinators that will in turn help your plant produce the best fruits and feed other wildlife at the same time. Due to the compact, low growth of some varieties, blueberry bushes are great for borders, edges, and hedgerows. They have beautiful fall foliage and grow well in containers for easy home gardening.
Rhododendron, PJM Elite, and Landmark. Beautiful displays of light pink or dark pink flowers in the early spring that will catch every eye. These blooms shower the plant in bright pink, completely transforming it from the deep green leaves that remain all year round. For a show-stopping display, grouping a number of these plants together is something we see a lot, although they will also grow into a beautiful plant individually. These spectacular blooms make for a great pollinator plant. It's as if the whole plant is buzzing from all of the bees it attracts in full bloom. So if you're afraid of bees, it's a good thing that you can admire these flowers from a distance.
Last but not least, we have grape varieties. Grapes are another multi-purpose addition to your landscape. Once the plants are established, you will yield baskets of the most luscious fruit over a long season. Grapes don't require a lot of care, just some minimal pruning to keep the vine short and fruit plentiful. They add flair to the landscape, especially when trailing over an arbor. Their thick and sturdy canes are a great host for other vines, such as trumpet vines, roses, or clematis, and combining these vines can produce a stunning show from spring till fall.
Thank you, Aletta and Bryn. Admittedly, as they were going through the slides, my mind thinks in terms of a catalog, and my mind thinks in terms of evergreens and then broadleaves and then shade trees. Maybe it's just me. So when they were first going through it, I thought, okay, where are we going here with the roadmap? But I see what you did there, and I love it. So a lot of the varieties are self-explanatory because we've used them for so many years. We just thought it was really important that we highlight the material that really works for us. You know, these, as is mentioned a couple of times, have really been our go-tos. And many of the new varieties that have been heard about this morning too are spin-offs or improvements of some of those varieties, which is why we love them so much. These are the base plants. You know, and again, back to the concept, the theme of if your customers are seeing good performance of the product, that is key. That's what we want here. We want those landscapes to be successful. I think maybe Alec mentioned it as well, and with very little effort. You know, well, they really all speak to that. You know, with very little effort in terms of the customer having to go to extremes to get the plant to perform. So that's what this seminar was about. Hopefully you've gleaned some information from it. I mentioned at the beginning, this is available to anyone that wants to ask for it afterwards. I would say it really does represent the lion's share of what we sell in terms of numbers through the course of the year. So if you can memorize this one, then you've pretty much got the, you know, the dial of plants in your back pocket. So.